Today, we're diving into the terrifying physics of what happens when fireworks go terribly wrong. The science here is shockingly simple. What creates that beautiful light show in the sky is basically the same physics that powers a projectile weapon. Really, the only difference is intention and control. And this is how we all see them, right? They just paint the sky on holidays, marking these moments of pure celebration and wonder. For almost everyone, they're just symbols of beauty and joy, totally fleeting and, you'd think, pretty harmless. But that beauty is, well, it's incredibly deceptive. We tend to forget that what we're actually watching is a series of controlled explosions. The core of a firework isn't just some colorful powder, it's gunpowder, it's volatile chemicals, all packed into a shell that's designed to be fired like a cannonball. So in this explainer, we're going to look at what happens when that control is completely lost, when one simple mistake, or a single moment of bad judgment, or even a systemic failure unleashes the absolutely terrifying physics hiding behind all those pretty lights. We're going to start at the individual level, with these tragic stories where a simple underestimation of just how powerful these devices are proved to be instantly fatal. So, on July 4th, 2015, a 22-year-old man in Maine made one of the most catastrophic mistakes imaginable. After a night of drinking, he tried to pull what he called a joke. The sequence of events, as you can see here, was just terrifyingly simple, and it was all over in a split second. And this is the device he used. This is not some little firecracker you get at a roadside stand. No, it's a 3-inch professional-grade mortar. It's designed to launch an explosive shell hundreds of feet into the air with some serious force. To really put the power he was balancing on his head into perspective, look at this comparison. The explosive force was equivalent to a quarter stick of dynamite. And by placing the tube upside down on his head, he pointed that entire force directly into his skull. Death was, of course, instantaneous. Now, underestimating the device itself is one fatal error, but underestimating the fuse, that's a whole other thing. Back in 2011, a father in North Dakota lit a firework that just didn't go off. He waited only 30 seconds before he went to check on it, a decision that sealed his fate right in front of his entire family. To really get what happened next, you have to understand what a mortar shell truly is. It's not just a passive little explosive, it's an active projectile. Think of it like a cannonball designed to be fired out of that tube. When that delayed fuse finally ignited, the shell launched at this speed, 300 feet per second. As the man leaned over the tube, it struck him directly in the neck and jawline, and it decapitated him instantly. That's the kind of velocity we are talking about at point-blank range. Okay, so those were individual errors. Tragic, but individual. But what happens when the failure isn't just one person? What happens when it's systemic, and the scale is magnified thousands of times over? The scene for this one is a highway bridge in China's Henan province. It's just a single truck illegally transporting 6 tons of professional-grade fireworks for the Lunar New Year celebrations when it suddenly catches fire. The explosion that followed created a pressure wave of 35 pounds per square inch. Now, for context, just 5 psi is enough to shatter windows and rupture eardrums. This was 7 times more powerful than that. And this slide right here shows the critical engineering failure. You see, the bridge's columns could handle the downward force of trucks. That's the vertical load. But they were never ever designed to withstand a massive horizontal explosive blast. The pressure wave hit the supports from the side and basically just sheared them off. The result was a catastrophic structural failure. As this chart shows, a massive 260-foot section of the roadway completely disintegrated. It sent 26 vehicles plummeting 90 feet down to the frozen ground. The combination of the blast and that fall, it was just devastating. Now let's move from the finished fireworks back to the raw material itself. Because sometimes the most dangerous place you can possibly be is right where these explosives are being made. This right here is the key ingredient, flash powder. It's what gives powerful fireworks their bang, but it is incredibly volatile, way more so than simple black powder. And in an illegal factory in Tennessee back in 1983, workers were handling this stuff with almost zero safety precautions. This visual really shows the terrifying chain reaction. So a supervisor was packing powder when a tiny spark, most likely from static electricity on his clothes, ignited the material on his table. That tiny, seemingly small event on the left instantly triggered the catastrophic effect you see on the right, the detonation of 1,000 pounds of flash powder that was stored in the building. The shockwave from that blast expanded at over 17,000 feet per second. That's almost 12,000 miles an hour. I mean, at that speed, the pressure wave literally liquefies your internal organs before your brain can even register that something is happening. The barn and everyone inside, they just disintegrated. Incredibly, one man survived the initial blast. Responders found him just walking in a state of shock. And, well, this haunting description from the scene conveys the sheer violence of that explosion's force better than any number ever could. So, after examining these tragedies, from the individual all the way up to the industrial, what are the crucial takeaways? What does the physics of these terrible events actually teach us? Well, the lessons are written in the aftermaths of these disasters. The delayed fuse in North Dakota teaches us to never approach a dud. The tragedy in Maine is a brutal reminder about alcohol and explosives. The bridge collapse shows exactly why transport protocols aren't optional. And of course, the factory explosion reveals the inherent danger of the raw materials themselves. Ultimately, the physics is just unforgiving. Behind every single beautiful display is a powerful explosive. Respecting that power isn't just a suggestion. It is the only thing that separates a night of celebration from a lifetime of tragedy.